Have you all noticed that as soon as there is a subject, we all as human beings have a right to know? The news goes silent. Well, guess what? Do you hear the silence? Or should I turn it up for you?
We talked about the off-timing of their solar maximums, right? Not to discredit them or anything, but to kind of emphasize to people that they're not going to be informed by mainstream scientists.
Pull out of the chicken, cross the road.
Take it from the left to the right.
Right.
Hit. Hut.
He stepped out of range, got hit by a tree.
He ain't no chicken no more. No.
I say, son, what do we got brewing in here? Look at that boy, running all around like a chicken with his head cut. Wait a minute.
Even, you know what's so ironic? You have an entire group of it. I'm talking about millions of individuals who do not pay attention to mainstream scientists. They don't discredit scientists. They understand that, they're not going to get their information from them.
Oh, it's all right, miss. It doesn't hurt. Give it to myself all the time.
Yeah, he gives it to himself all the time.
Because they're bound, they get paid by those who are established, and they just can't come out with that type of information. So what's happening now is that folks that have an understanding of the solar system and what's happening with the sun and all is off timing, flares, so on and so forth, they're really starting to talk about this, which is why Elon Musk, he had that little article came about regarding his bunker that was in direct relation to the sun. And not only him. See, it's not there's Elon Musk, quite a few others. They're not listening to mainstream science. They already know what the deal is. They know what the deal is. And that was Elon Musk showing the world, we're going to have a problem and you might want to be ready. Let me go ahead and break this news to you. You ready? Then the next 3 years, they expect an absolute, I guess you may say, conflagration over the face of the entire earth because of the sun and because of war. Totally consumed. They keep saying it's going to be totally consumed within the next 3 years on the top side. And so they're actually telling people, NATO, they're starting to tell people, Germany, they're telling their people, get your supplies, make sure that you can stay in a fortified place and get your supplies together now. Here's what they expect. They expect war to consume the face of the earth at the exact same time. Solar activity is going to be absolutely devastating. That's what they expect in the next 3 years. But I'm not talking about an article. They're actually having public speeches. And they're wanting people to get their things together now. They're telling them, get it together now. And unfortunately, it's going to be a lot of people who, because they cite no immediate evidence, right? Because they, I don't know, maybe they like the world too much. They're going to miss it. But here's a key. It's going to become quite chaotic. And we're talking about developments that are beginning now, right? Right now. And so here we are. They said within the next 3 years, as 2026 is the date that, they said if you don't have anything ready by 2026, you're not going to get it ready because you'll be consumed by that point. And that means if they say within the next 3 years, and from what they continue to say, what's been happening, people are going to begin to notice breakouts of various conflicts all over the face of the earth. China is telling their people the same thing. North Korea told their people to get ready now. The call's going out in Europe. The UK is doing the same thing. They're saying do it now. Unfortunately, the USA we're going to be the only people who will not say a thing. I think that this political show that people are seeing is it really does tie people up, and it's really taking the attention away from more important matters. I mean, much more important matters. It's not going to matter who's in the White House when missiles are striking every single piece of, the East and West Coast. Right now they're worried about the power grid. They're getting money together. They're about to have a $10 trillion package again to go out all over everywhere they can to start to fortify some of these hardened structures. They're rechecking military bases. That has to be done by the end of by February 11th, I believe it is. Right, so military bases have to be check certified to operate off the grid. Let's talk about resources for a minute. What country needs another country's resources? What you see being shipped now is not fuel, it's not oil, it's not petroleum. The USA has its own oil. In the Middle East, they're spending about $400 million a day on nonsense. Because they don't need anybody else's oil. They hold it back from Israel, of course, but Israel does not need anybody's oil either. And when it comes to minerals in the earth like lithium and other minerals, South America, of course they have a lot, but so do other places. And for the most part, people have exactly what they need. But so long as the people believe they're having a war over petroleum, so long as that's the narrative, nobody ever looks into the truth of things, because we've gone a lot further than that. It's kind of like this thing with AI. AI is so misunderstood right now, and people don't. For example, people still believe that AI is coming on the scene. Listen, they've known an AI derived character for 5 years. They've known him. All of your audience, they know a character that is not a real person. It's an AI-derived character, and they don't know who it is. It's been on television for 5 years, and nobody has said a word because nobody knows who it is. Nobody programs it, right? They work with it just like they would a person. So people can forget that. Plus, the role it has, for example, CDBCs, right? It's coming regardless whether people like it or not. And the difference between that and everything else, for example, Bitcoin has somewhat of you have a number. You're a number with Bitcoin, right? With CDBCs, the way it's set up now, it's your signature on there, right? So it is programmable money. And what I mean by that is, and it's going to hit everywhere, it's unavoidable. They will dictate what you can and cannot do with that money based on, right, what's, training with the world, this, that, and the other. The real reasons they need this in place is so control is number one, but also accountability. They don't need, money is a made-up system, right? Most people think money is divine for some reason. It is not. Most of the money that flows around the world is useless. It's useless. It is backed by nothing. And so it is, in fact, a control mechanism to control who can do what with resources, but most importantly, it controls who goes where, right? Who can live where, who can be on top, who's on the bottom, this, that, and the other. So it's a structural control mechanism. The digital money is going to further that control. Our entire way of thinking about money is going to change, because if you think about it right now, back in the day, bartering and all that stuff between nations, that was a big deal, right? That's not what money is based on now. Right now, the highest commodity is information. It is not oil, because whoever has the information can manage any other country, this, that, and the other. So that's your number one commodity. Everything else is just something that people do, basically. So we have really gone into a new era of existence where everything that was old is dead, is gone. They don't use it anymore. The countries are not based upon some of these older ideas. And because AI has been implemented and is doing some things, it's doing some. Number one, 7 cures to cancer have already come out. Right? They're being they're going under their trials already. They have the AI doctors They've been on the scene for 2 months now, right? They're doing marvelous things that nobody could ever do. But everything is changing quickly, and technology right now is outpaced everything else, right? There's no way we can catch back up with it either, because they've already handed over control to AI in quite a few areas. So things are about to get a lot different. Now that comes with great wars, doesn't it? Because right now, the major factor is this: nobody wants to put up with America's control anymore. And so now they're starting to retaliate. Do you know why? Because AI is allowing them to become just as advanced as we are. So that's the war front. The second thing is we have a new problem on the scene. Wars are coming. 3 years, they estimate. I'll say it again, they estimate 3 years this world's going to be consumed by war. Consumed. And that means every place on the earth is going to be touched by war. Every place, right? This was a serious conversation this weekend. It is a serious conversation at NATO. It is a serious conversation with China. It's a serious conversation with Russia, right? And now people are throwing money behind it. So when they start coming up with $10 trillion packages to do things, you know it's serious.
This has been the Confidential Report. For even more stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel today. And please show your support by clicking the like button on this video. For even more stories and news you deserve to know the truth about, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching the Confidential Report.